Verse for opening a sutra. The unsurpassed, profound, and wonderful Dharma is difficult to encounter in hundreds of millions of aeons. I now see and hear it, receive and uphold it, and I vow to fathom the Tathagata's true meaning. The Flower Adornment Sutra, Chapter 39, Entering the Dharma Realm, Part 1, Section 2. At that time, Universal Worthy Bodhisattva Mahasattva universally contemplated all of the Bodhisattva assemblies. He used expedient means equal to the Dharma realm, expedient means equal to the realm of emptiness, expedient means equal to the realm of living beings, expedient means equal to the three periods of time, equal to all kalpas, equal to all of living beings' karmas, equal to all of living beings' delights, equal to all of living beings' understandings, equal to all of living beings' roots, equal to all of living beings' times of maturation, and equal to all reflections of the light of the Dharma. And then for the sake of all the Bodhisattvas, he used 10 types of Dharma phrases to reveal, manifest, illumine, and proclaim this lion sprint samadhi. What are the 10? They are the Dharma phrase that proclaims his ability to manifest within the Dharma realm in number equal to Buddha Kshatriyas like dust motes, the respective appearances of all Buddhas in the world, and the successive formations and destructions of all Kshatriyas. The Dharma phrase that proclaims his ability to manifest within the realm of empty space in number equal to Buddha Kshatriyas like dust motes, sounds that praise the dust come one's merit and virtue to the ends of future kalpas. The Dharma phrase that proclaims his ability to manifest within the realm of empty space in number equal to Buddha Kshatriyas like dust motes, the measureless and boundless doors of accomplishing proper enlightenment by all dust come ones who appear in the world. The Dharma phrase that proclaims his ability to manifest within the realm of empty space in number equal to Buddha Kshatriyas like dust motes, the Buddhas sitting in their way places and their Bodhisattva assemblies. The Dharma phrase that proclaims how in all his hairpause, in thought after thought, he manifests in number equal to all the transformation bodies of the Buddhas of the 3 periods of time which fill up the Dharma realm. The Dharma phrase that proclaims his ability to manifest everywhere one body which fills up all the seas of Kshatriyas of the 10 directions. The Dharma phrase that proclaims his ability to manifest within all states the spiritual transformations of the Buddhas of the 3 periods of time. The Dharma phrase that proclaims his ability to universally manifest within all Buddha Kshatriyas like dust motes, the various spiritual transformations of the Buddhas of the 3 periods of time, which are again as numerous as Buddha Kshatriyas like dust motes, and all of these prevailing for measureless kalpas. The Dharma phrase that proclaims his ability to produce within all hairpause the sounds of the seas of great vows of Buddhas of the 3 periods of time, exhausting the realms of the future, revealing the transformations and guidance of all Bodhisattvas. The Dharma phrase that proclaims his ability to cause the Buddha's lion throne to be the same in measure as the Dharma realm, and to cause way places of the Bodhisattva assemblies to be equally adorned without any differentiation, prevailing to the future realm, turning various wonderful and subtle Dharma wheels. Disciples of the Buddha, these are the 10 chief Dharma phrases. There are ineffable Dharma phrases, their number equal to dust motes in Buddha Kshatriyas, which are the states of wisdom of the dust come ones. At that time, Universal Worthy Bodhisattva, wishing to proclaim this meaning again, was aided by the Buddha's spiritual power. He contemplated the dust come one, He contemplated the assembly. He contemplated the inconceivable states of all Buddhas. He contemplated the boundless samadhis of all Buddhas. He contemplated the inconceivable seas of all the worlds. He contemplated the inconceivable level equality of all Buddhas of the three periods of time. He contemplated all the measureless and boundless dharmas of all languages. And then he spoke verses saying, "In every single hair-paw, a kshatriya sees as many as dust motes. Within each a Tathagata is seated, replete with his bodhisattva's assembly. In every single hair-paw are measureless kshatriya seas. The Buddha on his Bodhi throne pervades the Dharma realm. In every single hair-paw are Buddhas as many as dust motes in kshatriyas. Bodhisattvas' assemblies circumambulate to speak of universal worthies' conduct. The Buddha seated in one country pervades the realms of the 10 directions. Measureless clouds of bodhisattvas have come and gathered here. Millions of kshatriyas, numerous as dust motes, are the bodhisattvas' seas of meritorious and virtue. They arise from these assemblies and pervade the realms of the 10 directions. They dwell in the universal worthies' conduct and cause in the Dharma realm's ocean, universally manifesting all kshatriyas, and equally enter all Buddha assemblies. Securely seated in all kshatriyas, they listen to all dharmas. Within every country, they cultivate such practices for millions of kalpas. What the bodhisattvas cultivate are practices that universally brighten the Dharma sea. They enter the great sea of vows and dwell in the grounds of the Buddha's states. They understand and arrive at universal worthies' conduct and give rise to all Buddha dharmas. Replete with the Buddha's sea of merit and virtue, they vastly manifest spiritual penetrations. Their bodies like clouds equal to dust motes pervade all kshatriyas. They rain down the Dharma of sweet dew and enable beings to dwell in the Buddha's way. At that time, the world on it one, wishing to enable all bodhisattvas to dwell securely in the Tathagata's lion sprint, vast great samadhi, emitted a great light from the white tuft between his eyebrows. The name of this light was universally illumining the gate of the Dharma realm of the 3 periods of time, and an ineffable array of lights as many as dust motes in Buddha kshatriyas served as his retinue. They illumine Buddha lands in all the seas of worlds of the 10 directions. At that time, within the Jeta grove, the great assemblies of bodhisattvas saw that within all Buddha kshatriyas pervading the Dharma realm and the realm of emptiness, in every single dust mote, were Buddha lands as many as dust motes in all Buddha kshatriyas. All of them were replete with various names, various forms, various purities, various dwelling places, various shapes and appearances. And in the midst of all these Buddha lands were great bodhisattvas seated on lion thrones in their way places, accomplishing equal, proper enlightenment. Great assemblies of bodhisattvas circumambulated them, and the worldly kings made offerings. Or perhaps they saw great assemblies to the measure of ineffable Buddha kshatriyas emitting wonderful sounds, filling up the Dharma realm and turning the proper Dharma wheel. Or perhaps they saw within heavenly palaces, dragon palaces, yaksha palaces, Gandharva palaces, Asura palaces, Garuda palaces, Kinara palaces, Mahoraga palaces, in the palaces of humans and non-humans, within villages, towns, hamlets, or capital cities. These bodhisattvas manifesting various family names, various personal names, various bodies, various marks, various lights, and various compartments. They were entering various samadhis, manifesting various spiritual changes, or perhaps at times they themselves would use various languages and accents, or cause other bodhisattvas within the various great assemblies to speak in various tongues and to proclaim various dharmas. In this way, all the great assemblies of bodhisattvas beheld all the Buddha, thus come one's most profound samadhi and power of great spiritual penetrations, exhausting the Dharma realm and empty space in the east, west, south, north, the four intermediary directions, above and below. In the seas of directions, they relied on living beings' thoughts and dwelt, beginning from the boundaries of the past up to the present, in all countries' bodies, in all of living beings' bodies, in all of the paths of emptiness, down to each and every hair tip of them were kshetras as numerous as dust motes, which have arisen from different karma and which dwelt, respectively. Within all of these way places were bodhisattvas' assemblies, and in the same way they also saw the Buddha's spiritual powers, which are indestructible within the three periods of time, and which are indestructible within the worlds. In the living beings' minds, they manifested their images according to the heart's delights of all living beings. They emitted wonderful languages and sounds. They universally entered all assemblies and universally manifested before all beings. Their forms and marks were different, but their wisdom had no difference. According to their needs, they revealed and instructed them with Buddha Dharmas, teaching and transforming all living beings without ever resting. As for those who could perceive these Buddha's spiritual powers, this was due to Vairocana, thus come one, who in the past used good roots to gather them in, or he used the four dharmas of attraction to gather them in, or it is from the maturation of seeing, hearing, remembering, and drawing near, or in the past he had taught them to bring forth the resolve for Anuttara Sankhya Sambodhi, or in the past they have together planted good roots at all the Buddha's places, or in the past he had used all wisdom and clever expedient devices to teach and transform and bring them to maturity. That is why they could enter all the thus come one's inconceivable, most profound samadhis, the great power of spiritual penetrations that exhaust the Dharma realm and the realm of emptiness, or enter the Dharma body, or enter the form body, or enter the conduct accomplished in the past, or enter the perfected paramitas, or enter all the grounds of bodhisattvas, or enter the power of accomplishing proper enlightenment, or enter the samadhi in which Buddhas dwell, and the non-discriminating great spiritual penetrations, or enter the thus come one's wisdom powers and fearlessness, or enter the Buddha sea of unobstructed eloquence. All of these bodhisattvas use various understandings, various paths, various doors, various entrances, various principles and tendencies, various compliances, various wisdoms, various aids to the way, various skill in means, and various samadhis as expedient doors to enter into the sea of the Buddha's spiritual transformations, which were as numerous as dust motes in ineffable Buddha kshetras. What is meant by the various samadhis? They are as follows: the samadhi of universally adorning the Dharma realm, the samadhi of universally illumining the unobstructed states in the three periods of time, the samadhi of the Dharma realm's non-discriminating wisdom light, the samadhi of entering the thus come one's unmoving state, the samadhi of universally illumining boundless empty space, the samadhi of entering the thus come one's powers, the samadhi of being adorned by the Buddha's fearlessness and courageous invigoration, the samadhi of the treasury of revolutions of all Dharma realms, the samadhi of being like the moon, universally manifesting all Dharma realms and making great proclamations with unobstructed sounds, the samadhi of the universally pure Dharma light, the samadhi of the banner of unobstructed call Dharma King, the samadhi of seeing the ocean-like assembly of Buddhas in all states, the samadhi of manifesting a body in all worlds, the samadhi of entering the state of the thus come once non-discriminating body, the samadhi of the treasury of great compassion that revolves according to all worlds, the samadhi of the realization that all dharmas are traceless, the samadhi of realizing the ultimate still extinction of all dharmas, the samadhi of knowing that nothing can be attained and yet transformationally and universally appearing in the world, the samadhi of universally entering all kshetriyas, the samadhi that adorns all the Buddha kshetriyas in accomplishment of proper enlightenment, the samadhi of contemplating the different marks and forms of all world hosts, the samadhi of contemplating all living beings' states without obstruction, the samadhi of giving rise to the mothers of all thus come once, the samadhi of being able to cultivate and enter the pathways of merits and virtue of the ocean-like assemblies of Buddhas, the samadhi of being able to manifest spiritual transformations in every state, exhausting the boundaries of the future, the samadhi of entering the seas of all thus come once former deeds, the samadhi of guarding and holding all the thus come once seed nature to the ends of the boundaries of the future, the samadhi of using the decisive power of understanding to purify all Buddha kshetriyas that appear in the 10 directions at the present time, the samadhi of universally illumining of all the Buddhas, the samadhi of entering the limit of non-obstruction of all states, the samadhi of causing all worlds to become one Buddha kshetriya, the samadhi of bringing forth all of the Buddha's transformation bodies, the samadhi of employing Vajra regal wisdom to know the seas of all faculties, the samadhi of knowing that all that is securely set up within the Dharma realm dwells in the limit of the mind, the samadhi of manifesting nirvana in all the vast great countries of the Dharma realm, the samadhi of being able to cause others to dwell in the most superior places, the samadhi of manifesting all the different bodies of living beings in all Buddha kshetriyas, the samadhi of universally entering of all the Buddha's wisdom, the samadhi of knowing the nature and appearance of all dharmas, the samadhi of being able to, in one thought, universally know the dharmas of the 3 periods of time, the samadhi of in every thought universally manifesting the body of the Dharma realm, the samadhi of the lion's courageous wisdom that knows of the successive order of all Buddha's appearances in the world, the samadhi of perfecting the wisdom eye within all states of the Dharma realm, the samadhi of courageously tending toward the 10 powers, the samadhi of emitting the light of the perfection of all merit and virtue that universally illumines the world, the samadhi of the unmoving treasury, the samadhi of using all languages and sounds to propound and explain one Dharma, the samadhi of proclaiming the non-dual door of all Buddhas, the samadhi of knowing the limit of unobstructedness of the 3 periods of time, the samadhi of entering the subtle and fine expedients of the 10 powers, the samadhi of accomplishing all bodhisattva practices in all kalpas without any interruption, the samadhi of universally manifesting a body in the 10 directions, the samadhi of accomplishing proper enlightenment with sovereignty within the Dharma realm, the samadhi of giving birth to the reception of all security and peace, the samadhi of producing various objects of adornment to adorn the realm of empty space, the samadhi of being able within every thought to produce clouds of transformation bodies equal to the number of living beings, the samadhi of moonlight in the clear sky of the dust come ones, the samadhi of always seeing the dust come ones dwelling within empty space, the samadhi of disclosing and revealing all of the Buddha's adornments, the samadhi of illumining and brightening all the lamps of the meaning of Dharma, the samadhi of the appearance of the banners of all Buddhas of the 3 periods of time, the samadhi of all Buddhas one secret treasury, the samadhi of bringing to the ultimate all that one does in every thought, the samadhi of the treasury of endless blessings and virtue, the samadhi of seeing the states of boundless Buddhas, the samadhi of firmly dwelling in all dharmas, the samadhi of manifesting all thus come one's transformations and causing beings to know and to see them, the samadhi of the Buddha's sun appearing in every thought, the samadhi of knowing all the dharmas within the 3 periods of time within one day, the samadhi of proclaiming with universal sounds the still and extinct nature of all dharmas, the samadhi of the lotus flower blossoming from the Dharma realm, the samadhi of contemplating all dharmas as being like emptiness and without a dwelling place, the samadhi of the sea of the 10 directions universally entering one direction, the samadhi of entering the basis of all Dharma realms, which is without a source, the samadhi of all the seas of dharmas, the samadhi of emitting all lights with a still and quiet body, the samadhi of manifesting all spiritual penetrations and great vows within one thought, the samadhi of accomplishing proper enlightenment at all times and in all places, the samadhi of using one adornment to enter all of the Dharma realm, the samadhi of universally manifesting all the Buddha's bodies, the samadhi of great, vast, superior wisdom and spiritual penetration that knows about all living beings, the samadhi of pervading the Dharma realm with one's body in a single thought, the samadhi of manifesting the pure Dharma realm of the one vehicle, the samadhi of entering the Dharma realm's doors to universality and manifesting great adornments, the samadhi of dwelling in and upholding the will of all Buddha Dharmas, the samadhi of attracting the realms of living beings with the vows and practices like Indra's net, the samadhi of discriminating all entrance into the world, the samadhi of easy and comfortable traveling while seated in the lotus flower, the samadhi of wisdom and spiritual penetrations to know about all living beings' various differences, the samadhi of causing one's body to appear before all living beings, the samadhi of knowing the seas of words and languages of all living beings' different sounds, the samadhi of wisdom and spiritual penetrations to know all living beings' differences, the samadhi of the treasury of level and equal great compassion, the samadhi of all Buddhas entering the thus come one's limit, the samadhi of the lion's sprint to contemplate all the thus come one's places of liberation. The bodhisattvas with the above ineffable samadhis numerous as the dust motes in Buddha Kshetriyas enter the spiritual transformation seas of Vairochana thus come one, which in every thought are filled with all the samadhis of the Dharma realm. All these bodhisattvas are replete with great wisdom and spiritual penetrations. They are bright, sharp, and at ease. They dwell on the different grounds, and with their vast great wisdom, they universally contemplate all things. Born from the seed nature of all wisdom, the wisdom of all wisdoms constantly appears before them. They have attained the pure wisdom eye that parts from the cataract of stupidity and act as subduing masters for all living beings. They dwell in the Buddha's equality and towards all dharmas have no discrimination. They understand states and know that all the nature of the world is still and extinct without a place of reliance. They universally travel to all Buddha's countries and yet are without attachments. They can contemplate all dharmas and yet are without dwelling. They pervasively enter the palaces of all wonderful dharmas and yet are without coming. They teach, transform, and subdue all in the world, universally manifesting a calm and safe place for living beings. The liberation of wisdom is their practice. Forever they dwell in their wisdom bodies, apart from the limit of greed. They transcend the seas of existence and instruct about the limit of reality. Their wisdom light is perfected. They universally see all dharmas and dwell in samadhi, firm and unmoving. Towards all living beings, they constantly bring forth great compassion. They know that all dharma doors are like illusions, that all living beings are like dreams, that all thus come ones are like reflections, that all sounds are like echoes, that all dharmas are like transformations. They can well accumulate superior practices and vows. Their wisdom is perfected, pure, and skillful. Their minds are still and quiet, adept at entering all states of dharani. They are replete with the power of samadhi and are courageous and dauntless. They have obtained the wisdom eye and dwell in the limit of the Dharma realm. They arrive at the place of attaining nothing with regard to all dharmas. They cultivate and practice the boundless great sea of wisdom. They arrive at the paramita of wisdom, the ultimate other shore, and are gathered in and maintained by prajna paramita. With the paramita of spiritual penetrations, they universally enter the world. Relying upon the paramita of samadhi, they obtain ease and comfort of mind. With non-inverted wisdom, they know all meanings. With skillful wisdom of discrimination, they disclose and instruct about the Dharma treasury. With a wisdom that makes things apparent and easy to understand, they teach and explain about writings and languages. With great vow power, they proclaim the Dharma without end. With fearless great lion's roar, they constantly delight in contemplating dharmas which are without a place of reliance. With a pure eye of Dharma, they universally contemplate all things. With the moon of pure wisdom, they illumine the formation and destruction of the world. With wisdom light, they illumine the reality principle. Their blessings, virtue, and wisdom, like a Vajra mountain, which all analogies fail to describe. They well contemplate all dharmas. Their wisdom roots increase and grow. They are courageous and vigorous, smashing the demonic hosts. With measureless wisdom, their awesome light is blazing. Their bodies transcend all worlds. They obtain the unobstructed wisdom of all dharmas. They can well enlighten too and understand the limit which has an end and which is endless. They dwell in the universal limit and they enter the reality limit. The contemplative wisdom, which is without a mark, constantly appears before them. With clever expedient devices, they accomplish all bodhisattva practices. With non-dual wisdom, they know all states. They universally see all the destinies of all worlds. They pervasively travel to all Buddha lands. Their wisdom lamp is perfected. With regard to all dharmas, they are free from darkness or obstruction. They emit the pure light of Dharma, which illumines the realms of the 10 directions. For the sake of the world, they serve as true fields of blessings. Upon either seeing or hearing of them, their wishes will be fulfilled. Their blessings and virtue are lofty and great, transcending all in the world. They are courageous and fearless. They smash all external ways. They proclaim subtle and marvelous sounds, which pervade all kshatriyas. Universally seeing all Buddhas, their minds are without satiation. With regard to the Buddhist Dharma body, they have attained self-mastery, and according to those who should be transformed, they will manifest a body. With one body, they can fill up all Buddha kshatriyas. They have attained comfortable, pure spiritual penetrations, and riding the great wisdom boat, their travel is unobstructed. Their wisdom is perfected, pervading the Dharma realm. This is like the rising sun, which pervasively illumines the world. According to the thoughts of living beings, they manifest their form. They know of all the living beings' root nature, their desires and delights, and enter the state of non-contention of all dharmas. They know that the nature of all dharmas is not produced, and does not arise, and cause the small and the great to mutually enter each other with ease. They decisively understand the Buddha's ground and its profound tendencies. With endless phrases, they proclaim the profound meaning, and within each phrase they proclaim all of the seas of sutras. They obtain the great wisdom dharani body, and whatever they receive and uphold, they will never forget. In one thought, they can recollect the events of measureless kalpas. They possess the wisdom to be aware in a single thought of all living beings throughout the 3 realms of time. They perpetually use all the doors of dharani to proclaim the boundless seas of all Buddha dharmas, constantly turning the non-retreating pure dharma wheel and causing all living beings to bring forth wisdom. They obtain the Buddha states, his wisdom light, and enter the profound samadhi of good views. They enter the unobstructed light of all dharmas. With regard to all dharmas, they have a supreme wisdom and sovereignty. With regard to all states, they are pure and adorned. They universally enter all the Dharma realms of the 10 directions, and regardless of the direction and place, there is none which they do not reach. Within every dust mode, they manifest the accomplishment of proper enlightenment. Within the nature that is without form, they manifest all forms. From within all directions, they enter one direction. All of these bodhisattvas, replete with the above treasury of boundless blessings, wisdom, merit, and virtue, are constantly praised and extolled by all the Buddhas. With all types of languages and words, their merit and virtue is spoken of, but it cannot be exhaustively expressed. There were none who were not there in the Jeta grove. They were profoundly immersed in the Das Kamwan's great sea of merit and virtue, and all could see how they were illumined by the Buddha's light. At that time, the bodhisattvas all obtained the inconceivable light of proper Dharma, and their hearts were greatly joyous, each of them from their own bodies and from the objects of adornments on their towering pavilions, and with the lion thrones on which they were seated, and from everything that pervaded the Jeta grove, transformationally made appear great clouds of adornments that fill up all the Dharma realms in the 10 directions. That is to say, within every thought they emitted clouds of great light that pervaded the 10 directions, and that could enlighten all living beings. They emitted clouds of all many-jeweled bells that pervaded the 10 directions and gave off subtle and wonderful sounds, praising and extolling all the merit and virtue of the Buddhas in the 3 periods of time. They emitted clouds of various kinds of music that pervaded the 10 directions, their sounds proclaiming all of living beings' karma and retributions. They emitted clouds of the forms and appearances of all bodhisattvas' vows and practices that pervaded the 10 directions, and that proclaimed all the great vows of the bodhisattvas. They emitted clouds of all the thus come ones, easy and comfortable transformations that pervaded the 10 directions, and expressed all of the Buddhas, thus come ones, languages and sounds. They emitted clouds of all bodhisattvas' bodies, adorned with subtle characteristics which pervaded the 10 directions, and explained the successive order in which all thus come ones appear in all the countries. They emitted clouds of the way places of the thus come ones in the 3 periods of time that pervaded the 10 directions, and manifested the adornment of merit and virtue of all the thus come ones accomplishing equal and proper enlightenment. They emitted clouds of all dragon kings that pervaded the 10 directions and rained down all sorts of fragrances. They emitted clouds of the bodies of all worldly hosts that pervaded the 10 directions and proclaimed the practices of universal worthy bodhisattva. They emitted clouds of all jeweled adorned pure Buddha kshetriyas that pervaded the 10 directions and manifested all thus come ones turning the wheel of proper Dharma. Because of all these, bodhisattvas obtained this inconceivable Dharma light. The Dharma response was such that they brought forth ineffable great spiritually transformed clouds of adornments that were as numerous as dust motes in Buddha kshetriyas. At that time, Manjusri Bodhisattva, relying upon the Buddha's spiritual power and wishing to further proclaim the deeds of spiritual transformations within this Jeta growth, contemplated the 10 directions and spoke verses saying, "You should contemplate this Jeta growth. Its boundless vastness is due to the Buddha's awesome spirit. All adornments have appeared, filling up the 10 directions of the Dharma realm. In all countries in the 10 directions are boundless types of great adornments, seated on their own thrones amidst these states. Their forms and images clearly appear. Emitted from the hair paws of the Buddha's disciples are various adorned clouds of jeweled flames. They proclaim the Tathagata's subtle and wonderful sounds, which pervade all kshetriyas of the 10 directions. From jeweled trees and flowers, his wonderful body appears, its form and marks equal to the King Brahma. Arising from dhyana, he takes a stride, whether going or stopping, forever. His comportment is still and quiet. In the Tathagata's each and every hair paw, always appear transformation bodies, hard to conceive of, like universal worthy, the great bodhisattva. Their various marks are adorned and fine. Within empty space above the Jeta grove, all the adornments emit wonderful sounds, universally proclaiming how the bodhisattvas of the 3 periods of time accomplish the seeds of all merit and virtue. The jeweled trees in the Jeta grove also emit measureless wonderful sounds, which speak of the multitudes, various karmic seeds and differences. All the states within this grove manifest the Tathagatas of the 3 periods of time, each of them endowed with great spiritual powers that were as numerous as dust motes in the 10 directions Kshetra seas. Countries in all the 10 directions, to the number of dust motes within the Kshetra seas, all enter the Tathagata's hair paws. Their successive adornments appear and are seen. Buddhas appear in these adornments, their number equal to beings that pervade the world. Each and every one gives off great radiance and transforms the multitudes according to their likings. Fragrant flames, flowers, and jeweled treasuries all adorn supreme and wonderful clouds, none of which is not vast and great, equal to empty space, pervade the countries in the 10 directions, all the Buddhas of the 10 directions and 3 periods of time, and the adorned and wonderful way places, amid these states at the garden, appear one and all, their forms clearly manifest. All of universal worthies and the Buddha's disciples have adorned kshetras for hundreds and thousands of kalpas, their number boundless, equal to all living beings, none of which is not seen within this garden. At that time, all the bodhisattvas, upon being illuminated by the brightness of the Buddhist samadhi, immediately entered the above samadhis. Each of them attained doors of great compassion, equal to number of dasmots in ineffable Buddha kshetras, to benefit and delight all living beings. From every hair pore on their bodies they emitted brightness equal to dasmots in ineffable Buddha kshetras. Each of these lights could transformationally manifest bodhisattvas equal to dasmots in ineffable Buddha kshetras. Their bodies, shapes, and appearances were like world hosts. They universally appeared before all living beings and circumambulated and pervaded the Dharma realm of the 10 directions. With various expedients they taught and transformed, tamed and subdued them. Perhaps they manifested doors of impermanence of all heavenly palaces, or they manifested doors of receiving birth of living beings equal in number to dasmots in ineffable Buddha kshetras, or they manifested the doors to cultivation of bodhisattvas equal in number to dasmots in ineffable Buddha kshetras, or they manifested doors of states like dreams equal in number to dasmots in ineffable Buddha kshetras, or they manifested doors that shook up the world equal in number to dasmots in ineffable Buddha kshetras, or they manifested the different doors of the world equal in number to dasmots in ineffable Buddha kshetras, or they manifested doors of dana paramita equal in number to dasmots in ineffable Buddha kshetras, or they manifested doors of sila paramita equal in number to dasmots in ineffable Buddha kshetras, where all thus come once cultivated, all merit and virtue, and the various ascetic practices, or they manifested doors of kanti paramita equal in number to dasmots in ineffable Buddha kshetras, where their limbs were cut off and severed, or they manifested doors of diligently cultivating virya paramita equal in number to dasmots in ineffable Buddha kshetras, or they manifested doors of all bodhisattvas cultivating the samadhis, dhyanas, and liberations, or they manifested doors of the brightness of wisdom at the perfection of the Buddha way, equal in number to dasmots in ineffable Buddha kshetras, or they manifested the doors of diligently seeking Buddha dharmas and for the sake of one word or one phrase, renouncing measureless lives, all of these equal in number to dasmots in ineffable Buddha kshetras, or they manifested doors of drawing near to all Buddhas, inquiring about all dharmas with insatiable and untiring minds, all of these equal in number to dasmots in ineffable kshetras, or they manifested doors of according with the opportunities and timing of living beings, their desires and delights, traveling to their places, maturing them with skill and means, and causing them to dwell in the brightness of the sea of all wisdom, all of these equal in number to dust motes in ineffable Buddha Kshetriyas, or they manifested doors of taming the demonic hosts, curbing the external ways and manifesting the Bodhisattva's blessings, wisdom, and power, all of these equal in number to dust motes in ineffable Buddha Kshetriyas, or they manifested doors of clear knowledge of all clever arts and skills, equal in number to dust motes in ineffable Buddha Kshetriyas, or they manifested doors of the clear knowledge of all living beings' differences, equal in number to dust motes in ineffable Buddha Kshetriyas, or they manifested doors of the clear knowledge of differences in all dharmas, equal in number to dust motes in Buddha Kshetriyas, or they manifested doors of clear knowledge of all living beings' minds' delights, equal in number of dust motes in ineffable Buddha Kshetriyas, or they manifested doors of clear knowledge of all living beings' roots and practices, their afflictions and habits, equal in number to dust motes in ineffable Buddha Kshetriyas, or they manifested doors of clear wisdom of all living beings' manifold karma, equal in numbers to dust motes in ineffable Buddha Kshetriyas, or they manifested doors of enlightening all living beings, equal in number to dust motes in ineffable Buddha Kshetriyas. With the above expedient doors, equal in number to dust motes in ineffable Buddha Kshetriyas, they travel to the dwelling places of all living beings, bringing them to maturation. That is to say, perhaps they dwelt in heavenly palaces, or dwelt in dragon palaces, or dwelt in yaksha palaces, or dwelt in the places of Gandharvas, Asuras, Garudas, Kinnaras, Mahoragas, or they dwelt in the royal palaces of Brahmans, or dwelt in the royal palaces of humans, or dwelt in the royal palaces of King Yama, or dwelt in the locations of the animals, hungry ghosts, and the hells. With level great compassion, level great vows, level wisdom, level experience, they gathered in all living beings. Perhaps they were those who, upon seeing them, became tamed and subdued, or those who upon hearing them became tamed and subdued, or those who upon recollecting them became tamed and subdued, or those who upon hearing their voices became tamed and subdued, or those who upon hearing their titles became tamed and subdued, or those who upon seeing their perfect light became tamed and subdued, or those who upon seeing their net of brightness became tamed and subdued. Thus, according to all living beings' heart's delight, they travel to their locations and cause them to obtain benefit. Disciples of the Buddha, all the bodhisattvas within this Jeta grove, for the sake of maturing all living beings, sometimes appeared as dwelling in all sorts of adorned palaces, or sometimes appeared as dwelling in their own pavilions, seated on their jeweled lion thrones, circumambulated by the assemblies of the way place, pervading the 10 directions, so that they could be seen by all, and yet they had not left the Tathagata's place at the Jeta growth. Disciples of the Buddha, these bodhisattvas sometimes manifested clouds of measureless transformation bodies, or sometimes appeared as solitary persons without any companion. That is to say, perhaps they manifested the body of a Shramana, or they manifested the body of a Brahman, or they manifested the body of one who cultivates bitter practices, or they manifested the body of robust and thriving, or they manifested the body of a medicine king, or they manifested the body of a merchant chief, or they manifested the body of one who cultivates pure livelihood, or they manifested the body of one who entertains music, or they manifested the body of one who serves all the gods, or they manifested the body of one who is skilled at all the crafts or artistries. They traveled to all villages, hamlets, cities, provinces, capital cities, and places of gathering, and according to the propensities of all living beings, with various shapes and compartments, various sounds, various discourses and theories, and various dwelling places within all worlds, like Indra's net, they practice the bodhisattva conduct. Perhaps they spoke of the crafts and artistries in all worlds, or they spoke of the lamp of all wisdom that illumines the world, or they spoke of the adornments of all living beings' karmic power, or they spoke of the establishment of the different vehicles within countries of the 10 directions, or they spoke of the states of all dharmas illumined by the wisdom lamp. They taught and transformed living beings, and yet they did not leave the Buddha's location at the Jeta Grove. At that time, Dharma Prince Manjusri came forth from the good dwelling pavilion with measureless bodhisattvas who accompanied him. With him were also the Vajra spirits who were constantly in attendance, the many-bodied spirits who, universally for the sake of living beings, made offerings to the Buddhas, the spirits traveling on foot, who had made solid vows to always follow in attendance, the earth-ruling spirits who delighted in hearing the Dharma, the water-ruling spirits who always delighted in cultivating great compassion, the fire-ruling spirits who illumined with wisdom light, the wind-ruling spirits who were crowned with mani, the direction-ruling spirits who were clear and skilled at compartments of the 10 directions. Also, there were night-ruling spirits who were especially diligent in destroying ignorance and darkness, the day-ruling spirits who single-mindedly revealed the Buddha's sun without the slightest laxness, the emptiness-ruling spirits who adorned the Dharma realm and all of empty space, the ocean-ruling spirits who universally saved living beings from the seas of all existences, the mountain-ruling spirits who always diligently amassed all good roots that aid the path and tend toward all wisdom, and who were lofty and great like mountains, the fortress-ruling spirits who always diligently guarded and protected the fortress of the Bodhi mind of all living beings, all the great dragon kings who always diligently protected the unsurpassed Dharma city, the wisdom of all wisdom, the Yaksha kings who constantly guarded and protected all living beings, the Kumbhanda kings who always diligently destroyed the destinies of the evil ghosts, the Garuda kings who had forever vowed to pull living beings from the seas of existence and save them, the Sura kings who vowed to accomplish the Tathagata's body, to be lofty and to transcend the world, the Mahoraga kings who took delight in seeing the Buddha and reverently bowed, the great heavenly kings who were forever wearied of birth and death, and who delighted in seeing the Buddha, and the great Brahma kings who revered the Buddha, praised and made offerings to him. Manjusri and all the above great bodhisattva assemblies, who were adorned with merit and virtue, came from their own dwelling places and arrived at the Buddha's place. They circumambulated the Buddha to the right a countless number of times and made offerings of all sorts of objects. After making these offerings, they bade farewell and went south toward the world of humans. At that time, the Venerable Shariputra, aided by the Buddha's spiritual power, saw that Manjusri Bodhisattva, together with the assembly of bodhisattvas as adornment, had come out of the Jeta Grove and was heading south to travel in the world of people, and he had the following thought: I should now go south with Manjusri. Then the Venerable Shariputra, together with 6,000 bhikshus who surrounded him all around, came out of their own dwelling place, and to where the Buddha was, they bowed to the Buddha and requested permission from the World-Honored One. The World-Honored One consented. Shariputra circumambulated to the right 3 times, bade farewell, and left. They went towards where Manjushri was. These 6,000 bhikshus dwelt together at the same place as Shariputra. They had not left the home life for long. They were Sea Enlightenment Bhikshu, Good Birth Bhikshu, Lighter Blessings Bhikshu, Great Pure Youth Bhikshu, Lightning Born Bhikshu, Pure Practice Bhikshu, Heavenly Virtue Bhikshu, Regal Wisdom Bhikshu, Brahma Supreme Bhikshu, Still Wisdom Bhikshu, and so forth, their number 6,000 in all. They had made offerings to measureless Buddhas and deeply planted good roots. Their power of understanding was vast and great. Their eye of belief was lucid and clear. Their minds were broad and extensive. In contemplating the Buddha state, they understood the basic nature of dharmas and could benefit living beings. They constantly delighted in diligently seeking the merit and virtue of all Buddhas. They had all been brought to accomplishment by the teachings and transformations from Manjushri, who spoke the Dharma for them. At that time, during their travels, the Venerable Shariputra regarded the bhikshus and told Sea Enlightenment Bhikshu, Sea Enlightenment, you can contemplate the pure body of Manjushri Bodhisattva, his fine marks and his adornments. None of the heavenly gods can conceive of this. You can contemplate the perfect and luminous radiance of Manjushri, which causes measureless living beings to become delighted in mind. You can contemplate the adornments of Manjushri's net of light, which destroys the measureless suffering and afflictions of living beings. You can contemplate the complete assemblies of Manjushri, which are all gathered in by the past good roots of the Bodhisattva. You can contemplate the road on which Manjushri travels. For 8 steps to both left and right, it is broad, level, and adorned. You can contemplate the dwelling place of Manjushri in the 10 directions surrounding it. There are always way places which revolve around it. You can contemplate the road on which Manjushri treads, which is replete with measureless blessings, virtue, and adornments, and on both the left and right sides are great hidden treasure troves, from which all sorts of precious gems spontaneously well forth. You can contemplate how Manjushri has made offerings to the Buddhas, and because of the flow of his good roots, how all the trees sprout adorn treasuries. You can contemplate Manjushri and see how all the worldly hosts rain down clouds of objects and bow in reverence as their offerings. You can contemplate Manjushri and see how whenever all Buddhas thus come once of the 10 directions are about to speak the Dharma, they emit light from the white tuft between their eyebrows, and how that light illumines his body and enters into his crown. At that time, the Venerable Shariputra, for the sake of the bhikshus, praised, extolled, revealed, and described Prince Manjushri's endowments of such measureless merit and virtue, and the perfection of his adornments. Upon listening to this, all the bhikshus became purified in their minds. Their belief and understanding became so solid that such they could not contain themselves and leapt with joy. Their bodies became soft and supple. Their various sense faculties registered delight. Their worries and suffering were destroyed. Their filth and obstructions were completely annihilated. Constantly, they saw all the Buddhas. Deeply seeking the proper Dharma, they became endowed with the faculties of Bodhisattvas and attained the strength of Bodhisattvas. Great compassion and vast vows spontaneously arose of themselves. They entered the various paramitas and the profound states, the ocean-like assemblies of Buddhas in the 10 directions constantly appeared before them. They brought forth profound belief and delight from all wisdom, and they addressed the Venerable Shariputra. We only wish that you, great teacher, would take us to the place of that Supreme Person. Then Shariputra went with them to the place and said, Humane One, all of these bhikshus wish to serve and wait upon you. At that time, Dharma Prince Manjusri, who was circumambulated by measureless comfortable bodhisattvas, together with their great assemblies, turned his head around like an elephant king and gazed at all the bhikshus. Whereupon all the bhikshus bowed at his feet, placed their palms together in reverence and said, We now gaze upon you with admiration and reverently bow all of your good roots. We only hope that you, Humane One Manjusri, and our Acharya Shariputra, and the world-honored one Shakyamuni Buddha will help us to be certified to such a form body as the Humane One possesses, such a voice, such fine characteristics, and such self-mastery. We wish to be completely endowed with all of them. At that time, Manjusri Bodhisattva told all the bhikshus, Bhikshus, if they are good men and good women who can accomplish 10 types of dharmas that tend toward the great vehicle, they can quickly enter the ground of the Daskam One. How much more the grounds of the Bodhisattvas? What are the 10? They are amassing all good roots with a mind free from weariness, seeing all Buddhas, serving and making offerings to them with a mind free from weariness, seeking all Buddha Dharma with a mind free from weariness, practicing all the paramitas with a mind free from weariness, accomplishing the samadhis of all bodhisattvas with a mind free from weariness, respectively entering all of the 3 periods of time with a mind free from weariness, universally adorning and purifying the Buddha Kshatriyas in the 10 directions with a mind free from weariness, teaching and transforming, taming and subduing all living beings with a mind free from weariness, in all Kshatriyas, in all kalpas, accomplishing the bodhisattva practices with a mind free from weariness, for the sake of bringing one living being to accomplishment, practicing paramitas to the number of dasmots in all Buddha Kshatriyas, and accomplishing the Tathagata's 10 powers in such a way to respectively bring into maturity all the realms of living beings, all of these with a mind free from weariness. Bhikshus, if they are good men or good women who can accomplish deep faith, bringing forth these 10 types of tireless mind, they can develop and nurture all the good roots, renounce and abandon birth and death in all the destinies, and transcend the mundane nature of all the worlds. They will not fall to the grounds of the sound hearers and Pachika Buddhas. They will be born in all the Daskam One's households. They will be replete with the vows of all bodhisattvas. They will cultivate all bodhisattva conducts. They will attain the Daskam One's powers, smash and subdue the demon hosts and those of external ways. They can also destroy afflictions, enter the grounds of the bodhisattva, and draw near to the ground of the Daskam One. At that time, all the bhikshus, upon hearing this dharma, obtained a samadhi called unobstructed eye. They could perceive the states of all Buddhas. They could see measureless and boundless Buddhas, thus come ones, of all worlds in the 10 directions, and their way places and assemblies. They could also see living beings in all the different destinies within these worlds in the 10 directions. They could also see all the differences in these worlds, and also see all the dasmots in these worlds, and also see the palaces in which the living beings of these worlds dwell, which were adorned with various jewels. They could also hear all the Buddhas thus come once, using various languages and sounds to proclaim all the Dharma, and could understand all of the words, diction, teaching, and explanations. They could also contemplate the faculties and heart's desires of all living beings within these worlds. They could also recollect the 10 former and subsequent lives of all living beings within these worlds. They could also recollect the past and future events of these worlds within 10 kalpas. They could also recollect the events of 10 former lives of all Tathagatas, the 10 accomplishments of proper enlightenment, the 10 turnings of the Dharma wheel, the 10 types of spiritual penetrations, the 10 types of proclaiming the Dharma, the 10 types of teaching and exhortation, and the 10 types of eloquences. And they also immediately accomplished the 10,000 Bodhi minds, the 10,000 samadhis, and the 10,000 paramitas. All of them were purified. They attained the great perfect wisdom light. They attained the Bodhisattva's 10 spiritual penetrations. They became gentle, supple, subtle, and wonderful. They dwelt in the solid, unmoving Bodhisattva mind. At that time, Manjushri told all the bhikshus they should dwell in universal worthies conduct. Upon dwelling in universal worthies conduct, they should enter the sea of great vows. Upon entering the sea of great vows, they should accomplish the sea of great vows. Upon accomplishing the sea of great vows, their minds would be purified. Upon purifying their minds, their bodies would be purified. Upon purifying their bodies would become light and at ease. Upon attaining bodies that were light and at ease, they would attain great spiritual penetrations and not retreat. Upon attaining these spiritual penetrations, they would never leave from the feet of Manjushri. And pervading the Buddha places in the 10 directions, they would manifest their bodies and completely accomplish all Buddha dharmas.